This one is a carve-out of the review of Baldur's Gate 3, just in case people don't have the time to watch a 44-minute video. Or the 2 hours before that. You know what to do if you like this video. Is Baldur's Gate 3 a great game? Yes. Is it 10 out of 10 perfection? Absolutely not. It can get there, but the gaming journalists who said that it already was clearly weren't doing their jobs. Let's tackle each element in turn. The main plot is pretty standard for a fantasy setting. That doesn't mean that it's bad though, because it masters the most important beats of storytelling. Who am I? A tadpoled wizard in Faerun. Who are my friends and allies? I get to pick from a mix of adventurers, organizations, and suppliers. Who are my enemies? A goblin camp, Catherick Thorm, Orin, Gortash, and the Netherbrain. We can throw in the Emperor and Raphael as well. What do the main bad guys want? To rule the world and turn people into mindless thralls. What do I want to do? Stop them. What will the consequences be for me if I fail? I will turn into one of those thralls. It's rock solid, urgent, and easy to understand. Much to my surprise, the writers somehow managed to avoid major plot holes as well. I know that some people might point to how the Emperor sides with the Netherbrain, but that makes sense if you think about it. The Illithid is a manipulative little shit who values freedom. Oh, did you think he meant for you? No, just for him. And sure, I know that I made jokes about how withers could resurrect everyone. However, there has to be a limit to it, or your choices won't mean anything. It's one of the few things that the player has to buy into for there to even be an adventure. What sells this story, though, are the characters. This cast turned your usual plot into one of the most emotionally resonant games I've ever played, and that's saying something. However, there are some issues that we also have to go over. We can start with the ladies first. Shadowheart is undoubtedly my favorite MC, and it isn't just because she's distracting. Her storyline is a good deconstruction of religious extremism. The potential romance makes it even more compelling. How? Let's consider a question. Drop the elf ears and magic powers. If a woman like her crossed your path, do you think that you might develop feelings? I'd say so, and that's a hallmark of wonderful writing. For the good path, anyway. After all, she's a mysterious girly girl who sucks at being evil, has maternal instincts, loves flowers, and reads. Her personality is one reason why the lead up to Dame Aelin scared me. I kept pushing forward because the game demanded it, but the quieter moments got worse and worse. I couldn't figure out if Shadowheart was that much of a zealot, or if Shar was trying to control her mind.
You will not stand in my way. Draw your weapon.
Where did the woman underneath go? This isn't her. I was genuinely scared that she would fall down a dark path. Thankfully, she didn't, which opened up moments of incredible beauty. Even though her personal quest is simple, Karlach's yearning and fear of death really hits home. Her arc is a masterful look at trying to do good in the face of the inevitable. The rage and depression that seeps out of the character also made me wonder how much of her personality is a mask. If she stopped being bubbly and sugary sweet, would she ever stop crying? And yes, I know that some players out there are sad because she didn't exactly get a happy ending. However, she can get a hopeful one. That's what matters the most. And of course, there's Lae'zel. Is she an interesting character? Yes. Is she a good romance option? No. I like the concept of a warrior turned rebel because of lies. However, the writers made Lae'zel too alien for a proper romance at the beginning of the game. While she is brave to a fault, I think that a romantic arc calls for glimpses of the woman beyond her role. That doesn't really happen until Act 3 when her character building is pretty much done anyway. What about the guys? Gale is a bro and his story has quite a bit of depth. The man's crippling need for more is an all too timely lesson, especially since he can just do good and enjoy life with a found family. Will is the best man on the team by far, especially since he has to make unenviable choices. After all, could you save your father's life if it meant eternal damnation? What about an entire city? How far would you be willing to go to defend everyone you care for? These are amazing questions to ask, so I'm happy to consider them. In the case of Astarion, I'm not sure if he has enough character development. He is a vampire, sure, but what else is there between the beach, that one night in Act 1, and his final showdown? There are runes on his back, a fight with the minions, and that's about it. Last but not least, Jaheira and Minsc are in the game for continuity's sake. The problem is that the High Harper is far more compelling than the Berserker. I adore the moment when the party comes across her house. It gives her many children a golden opportunity to bring out her true self. On the other hand, Minsc is just kinda there. I'm not sure if the writers knew what to do with him beyond a tadpole rescue. Of course, we can't finish off a discussion of the characters without a consideration of player sexuality. While I get that Larian sought to maximize player choice, it leads to some extremely jarring moments. For instance, hindsight shows why Lae'zel took an interest in me during Act 1. I fought alongside her the whole time and told her off when I had to. It's kind of alien and weird, but at least a little believable. Halsin, though? By that time I was ride or die for Shadowheart. He could have easily known that by just looking around the camp, so his attempt made him look like an icky guy. With that out of the way, some of the biggest issues involve the gameplay. While most of the fights are decent to great, quite a few of them suffer from a lack of difficulty balancing. Keep in mind that I'm pointing this out with a balanced run. The silliest examples of this are the Grimforge, the Battle of the Last Light Inn, and the fight against Lorroakan. For one thing, there are no obvious ways to gather intel beyond starting the battles and reloading. Even when that happens, many players will only be able to beat those fights with one method. To make matters worse, I encountered quite a few bugs in Acts 2 and 3. You just saw the freezes during the final battle, but I also want to point out a bad one from the fight against Lorroakan. I had to reload once to rethink my prep, and the party got kicked out of Sorcerous Sundries due to habitual violence. Why? I have no clue at all. The most awkward aspect of the game, though, has to be its sense of moral alignment. Although I like the fact that some of the good choices can backfire, I felt no real temptation to be evil. That's largely because the major decisions involve a choice between good and homicidal maniac. The goblins and the Druid Grove? One of those camps is going to get burned, and the Absolutists actually eat people. The Last Light Inn? They can all die as well. Killing the Night Song? Dame Aelin is far too badass for that. Plus, the inn burns. The snowball effect from that means that the player might as well see it through to the end. In fact, it seems like a more subtle evil character would just do what I did and backstab the Mind Flayer right at the end. With all of that in mind, I'm certain that I will be playing this game off and on until Baldur's Gate 4. However, the next developer could become legendary by pulling a Mass Effect and allowing our decisions to affect that game. Give that one some thought. GG. I'll see you next time.